you're ready, we'll get started. So how this is going to work is I'm going to have Coach open with a quick statement just on what the fall's been like and then what we're looking forward to. And then we'll open it up to questions. You don't have to raise your hand or anything. Just go ahead and ask. And then when he's done, someone else ask. All right. All right, Coach. So if you want to start with a quick opening statement.
Well, our group has been together since August the 3rd. And so obviously it's a different year than what anything I've experienced in my coaching career. And I'm in my 29th, 30th year. I'm not sure which one, but it's been good. Some of it's been bad, but for the most part, we've made it here to early November. Normally we would be wrestling this weekend. And that's what's a little bit different, is we've been training a lot, obviously. And we've postponed the season as coaches. We decided this till early January. So with that in mind, you kind of worry a little bit about your athletes maybe overtraining because there's no competition in between. So we've been given a little bit of downtime. We gave a week or 4 or 5 days off already. We'll probably give another 4 or 5 days off. Unfortunately, with the starting in January, most likely our student athletes may be a little bit tough for them to go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, just because of COVID. But I'm pleased with our young guys that we brought in from last year's recruiting class, a group of kids that have been real impressive from the standpoint of just excited about wrestling. Have been real disciplined with their academics, and it really put us in a position to where we can use them all. So just to remind everyone, as of now, and I'm sure it's going to maintain this, that everybody gets the year back this year, which is a little bit surprising to me that they came out with winter sports and announced that. I'm not sure what to think about it, but everyone on my roster is eligible to wrestle and not lose a year. So it creates a whole different scenario for you. The unfortunate things, and I'll open it up for questions. The unfortunate situation is there's not a lot of tournaments that our guys are going to get to wrestle in, just because we're going to try to avoid tournaments. So those that are not wrestling on the team, you usually get 20, 25 matches for your red shirts, and that's going to be a little bit of struggle this year. You have athletes that their whole life have wrestled anywhere from 30 to 50 matches every year, and all of a sudden some of them may not get a match in. So that'll be a little bit of a struggle for some of them, but we're in as good a place as we could possibly be in right now. And we look forward to hammering out this schedule. I'll be real quick with this. We've changed our schedule twice, had it completed, and now we're going to have to change it again. Big 12 we're still in a kind of a time where we haven't got exactly what wrestling can do in the Big 12. So hopefully that will be corrected, and we'll have some real answers on Monday, where we can start schedules on Tuesday and hopefully get them done within a week. So I'll open it up for any questions.
Hey, Coach, I just wanted to ask, I just want to ask real quickly, with the new season, how is the lineup looking? Have any decisions there been made?
Not really. I can give you a few weight classes that look pretty stamped. Right now, 133, Dayton Fix will not be eligible unless something changes until early February. So we're going to have to, likely Dayton will be our starter in early February. 149 Boo Lewallen is back. 157 Wyatt Sheets is back. I'm not saying those guys are necessarily going to start at all times, depending on their health, but Travis Woodlake at 65. 74, 84, 97 is wide open, and probably heavyweights wide open. So other than that, it's like I said, I probably have a little bit more detail at who's going to be at what weight, but just kind of keep in mind, I get to wrestle everyone this year, so whoever the best guy is, sometimes your best guy might be in red shirt because they're a freshman and you want to hold them back, but there's no need to redshirt anyone, or there's no need to hold anyone back this year.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. My follow-up question to that is, with those weight classes, are there any weight classes with very contentious competition?
Well, you got 125, and I think that you're looking at likely Mastro Giovanni,
Okay.
our senior that was senior in high school last year, who's with us as a freshman now. You have Burks from Omaha, who is a freshman as well, a true freshman. And we probably will try to make a move with Reese Woodcraft, moving down to 25, who wrestled for us at 133 as a redshirted freshman last year from Broken Arrow High School. So 3 pretty good kids. We'll probably use one of those, probably at 33 for the majority of January until Fix is back. I think at 141, you have Kaid Brock, Dusty Hone, both of them pretty competitive. I think at 49, you could also see Boo Lewallen, and you could see G Feller. At 57, you have Harper, you have Sheets, and you have Menabog. I definitely, at 49 and 57, give definitely the nod to the 2 starters from last year. 174, you have Dustin Plott. If Dustin Plott's ready to go, we will start him.
Okay.
I don't think, but I do believe that Anthony Montalvo could make the weight class and may choose to do that. Our certification this year, normally we would be completed and we would know the lowest weight of any of our student athletes, what they could go at by now. But they're allowing us to wait till our first competition to certify everyone. And a lot of that is because there's several, as we all know, there's several wrestling schools across the nation that are not in school right now. So you could see Montalvo, but down at 74. 84, you could see Montalvo at 84 and probably going heads up with Dakota Gear. I think at 97, you're likely going to see, if he remains healthy, Ferrari. And at a heavyweight, I think our best choice will probably end up being Harris. So few weights that look challenged, but at the same time, really won't get a little bit more detail as we get into late December.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Hey, Coach, you kind of talked about it already, but does Fix have plans to do the Olympics next year, or has that not really been talked about between you two?
Absolutely. We just chose this year, keep in mind that Dayton wrestled, last time he wrestled was in late January of this year in 2020. Just to bypass another year with the Olympic red shirt, it's not probably the best idea. So I think it's going to be much better for him to make 133 through the month of February, as well as the Big 12 and the Nationals, and then him make the weight cut or make the weight 57 kilos, which is 125 after the season's over for the trials for 2021 Olympics. So no, he has every intentions of trying out and making that team.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Robert.
John, I wanted to ask to follow up some of the stuff we talked about yesterday. Wanted to ask you, one, how quickly are the young guys in the room adapting to the way things are done in your program and what's expected of them? And then on Fix, since you just talked about it, how much did that ordeal affect him mentally, and how much have you guys needed to help him, or was he able to kind of mentally tough out all the residual that went along with that investigation?
Robert, as far as the freshmen, they're struggling like anyone. They're not ready. And I mean all of them. I have in my career as a coach, maybe, maybe, I don't know if I've even had one that was quite ready. You're looking at them as true freshmen. Are they ready to go? No, they need 5 or 6, 7 varsity matches, and then let's see where they go from there. Even if you go back all the way to Pat Smith, you think of Pat Smith, first 4-time national champion, his first match in his college career, he got pinned. So are you ready? No, they're not ready. We need live matches. We need competition, and they're going to find out exactly where they're at. They're going to notice that, hey, when we tell them you're going to have to work a lot harder to get off bottom, they're going to understand what we were saying. With Fix, it took a toll on Dayton. There's no question. Something you didn't do intentionally, and it's a scary time for a young person who's dedicated their life to, the opportunity to try to make an Olympic team, to make an Olympic team, to win a medal, to maybe win a gold medal, pretty stressful over that time. And I think anytime, you've done something, that you haven't purposely put something into your body to get an advantage, and yet sometimes they don't care. All I can say is that I appreciate USADA and what they did and how they handled it, and in the end, really relieved Dayton from and gave him the confidence that we know that there was nothing intentionally done. And I think it was a lot of action from OSU with the drug testing that we've done with them. You saw that drug testing before and after. And the NCAA has done a drug test. So I think all the number of drug tested kind of pointed towards a scenario that they know that there was nothing done purposely to gain an advantage in the sport of wrestling.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have a question? Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned that tournaments weren't going to be a thing for you guys this year. Is that just kind of COVID protocol type deal?
No, I don't think it's necessarily. I think one thing, as most of you might know, and if you don't know, that these athletes in most of our sports, they grow up in their sport, and they think about competing at the NCAA championship, and that's the ultimate. And so I think it's just a matter of we as coaches, we need to do everything we can to avoid what happened last year at the end. And that's having a whole season. We actually got to wrestle in the Big 12, and as a team, we wrestled better than we have all year long in any dual meet, in any situation. We were ready for the nationals, and then all of a sudden, 7 days before, or actually 6 days before competition day at the Nationals, it was called off. So you just don't want to go through that again. You want to do everything you can, and that's what we're going to try to do, even if it's maybe sacrificing some matches that they may need. So we're probably looking at, for us, depending on what comes out of the Big 12 on Monday, actually, is we could find ourselves only getting one competition a week, meaning 1 day a week, that we can wrestle, and obviously being tested 3 times leading up to that, since we were categorized under high risk of sport. So if that's the case, then we'll look at trying to do multiple matches in 1 day at home, or whether we go away. But we hope to get 14, 15 matches in before the Big 12, and for us, that's plenty. That's enough for us to be able to improve ourselves through the season. So it is about getting to the Big 12. It is about getting to the NCAA championship. So whatever we need to do, and whatever the Big 12 decides to do, from a health standpoint, we need to just do everything to focus on making it to the NCAA championships.
This might kind of be along those same lines, but with the season not starting yet, has there been any thought, or is it even a possibility that you can send guys to junior nationals or the U23s?
Yeah, we plan on sending up to 8 to 12 guys next weekend to Omaha. There's some protocol around it because it's an outside competition, and because it's an outside competition that qualifies you for, it can qualify you for a world championship or even the Olympic Games. It allows us to go and participate. But I think at this point, we're looking at taking 8 to 12 guys to that event. And that would probably be the only event. We'll try to run it. This week, we were going to run the orange and black dual meet, and because of injuries and a couple of other situations, we backed off of that, and we're going to try to create a orange black event, and competition from the standpoint of ranking matches sometime in December.
And you touched on this earlier, kind of having to rebuild the schedule a couple times now. Mike Boynton's touched on this with the basketball schedule. Just what are kind of some of the difficulties that maybe the public wouldn't know about constructing a schedule at a time like this?
Well, the tough part is, getting your meets in with the conference in 8 weeks. As basketball, you've seen, they're going to start in late November. We took November out, and we took December out by choice. This is not what the Big 12 asked us to do. We did it as coaches, by choice, and focusing in on the fact that let's try to do everything we can to get to the NCAA championships. Multiple day events where, most of the time, as you guys know, that we wrestle on weekends. Very seldom do we wrestle during the week. A lot of that is so we can continue to have success academically and not pulling athletes and taking them during the week. Back with the day in between. Sometimes it would be on a Friday and Saturday we wrestle those 2 teams. With the requirement right now where you have to test in between those meets, makes it a little tough to wrestle on a Friday and Saturday now, unless we can test at our away opponent's second match. The second match would be, we would have to test before that match. So it makes it a little bit tough for us to have back-to-back or even a Friday, Sunday match. So we're going to kind of hammer that out on Monday, and what what I'm hoping is that they kind of relieve us a little of that and recognize that we are testing 3 times before we even leave. If we're wrestling on the road, we're testing 3 times, even if we're wrestling at home during the week, so, I think the one good thing is Dr. Ivan's on that committee, and our Oklahoma State team doctor, and I have full confidence whatever he thinks we should be doing, we should do. And so whatever comes out of it, we'll deal with and move forward and put together a season. I would like to have 6 or 7 home dual meets. That may be a challenge if they require us to only wrestle at one spot once a week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, we're going to try to get Coach, or the practice starts at 3. So if y'all want to talk to wrestlers, we're going to need to move on to them real quick. If nobody else has
Thank you, guys.
question.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Coach.
Which phone?
All right, guys, we'll open
What's
it.
going on?
We'll open up straight to questions for Boo.
Hey, Boo. So, you've been with this program since 2015, 2016 season. Kind of how has your role as a leader developed over those years, especially with this big group, this highly, regarded recruiting class? What does your kind of role look like?
Man, so my role, I kind of, I'm getting older, so I'm not so much hanging out with them as much as maybe I did whenever I first came in, but on the outside of being in practice and stuff like that. So my role is I'm just trying to lead by example. I'm trying to show my work ethic and everything that I do, that I dedicate to the sport, whether that's in wrestling practice or in class or whatever it is. How I talk to people, I just try to, show them how to kind of be respectful and give your all to what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Boo.
What's going on?
So each of those years you have been at OSU, you've won obviously the Big 12 title, but the NCAA championship has kind of eluded you guys. Is that the ultimate goal this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm sure everybody's thinking. As long as it goes on, I mean, the goal is going to stay the same. That I'm trying to be the best in the country. So, if they put on the event, then I'll be ready for it.
So if I'm not mistaken, you're in year 6 now, but
Yeah.
there's now the possibility that you could have year 7. How much thought have you put into that yet? You're in a very unique scenario, I guess.
Yeah, it's unique. I mean, it's obviously crossed my mind, but just trying to take everything day by day. With NCAA's ending how it did last year, you can't really look ahead, and who knows what will happen next week? Who knows what will happen? I mean, even over the weekend. So I don't know. I thought about it, but that's something that I'll probably sit down with the coaches and talk to them after NCAA's and kind of, we just got to see how everything plays out.
With highly touted the young guys are, how have you kind of seen them work in the room thus far?
Man, they got good work ethic. It's been a different preseason than it ever has been. I mean, we've been working pretty hard with the days off that coaches talked about. But I mean, they're really dedicated, and this group of guys are very professional like already as they're coming in. So as somebody that's been here for 6 years, I think that as a whole unit, they've done a really good job of being professional in the classroom and coming to practice and working hard and not trying to find an easy way around things.
Thanks, Boo.
Hey, Boo, quick question. So, especially in a sport like wrestling where, you can't social distance, where guys are sweating and bleeding on each other, what does COVID, how does wrestling look like with COVID?
That's a good question. I don't know if that's a question I can answer, but I mean, the thing I can think about it and what we've seen with our team is, if you're doing the right things outside of, your bubble in a sense, like of your teammates or the peers that you have outside of Gallagher-Iba or wherever we're at, right? I think that if you're surrounding yourself around people that, are being safe and taking the precautions that are necessary to not contract the virus, I think that, ultimately, it's going to be out of our hands if they want to call off the NCAA tournament, it's going to get called off, or if they want to call off the season, whatever. But it's something that you can only control is what you're doing outside of practices, and making sure that you're not getting into situations where maybe you could get the virus. So I don't know. I know that it's a weird time, and I know with the testing that we're going to be having to do 3 times a week before we wrestle is going to be a good indicator of pretty early how things are going to go, I think.
Thank you. My follow-up question is, with COVID, with COVID in wrestling, are you concerned at all, or concerned of getting the virus, or is that something that's just kind of wiped from your mind and you're focused on wrestling?
Yeah, man. It's probably going to be in everybody's mind, maybe a little bit, just because of the fact that, guess what, if you get it, you're going to be out for a duration of time. I don't necessarily know the exact days on that. I know that the CDC said, I think it's 10 days that you have to quarantine, but there's a protocol that you have to follow when you're coming back from quarantining. So, it's something that you definitely don't want to get, just from the standpoint of you're going to be sitting out for a long time with a short season. So you're not going to want to miss out on the opportunities to compete. And I know for myself, I'm going to try to limit the possibility of contracting the virus as much as possible. So we'll see how it all plays out, like I said, but I don't think you should, you can't worry about it too much. You can only kind of control what you can control, and you got to roll with the punches. So
thanks.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions for Boo? All right, I think you're good, Boo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Kaid Brock's going to be up next.
Ooh, howdy.
Hey, Kaid, first question is, obviously as a local kid from Stillwater, although you were injured last year, do you feel like you are 100% and, completely separated from those injuries?
Yeah, I do actually. I think I looked at it as almost a blessing in a weird way, because it gave me a full year and a half now to completely just train and focus on all my minor and big flaws that I had in my arsenal and my wrestling. So I was able to spend a full almost 18 months now-ish on just training and just focusing on my technique and my body and building my muscle and getting bigger. So I've had plenty of time to adjust.
Okay, so sorry, okay, my question was, so 18 months, do you feel as if you are, 100% completely injury free?
Yeah, I feel completely injury free now. My body feels great. I do feel old, but I am 24 years old, so I'm not the 18-year-old I was when I first got here, but I'm older, so I noticed that does the recovery times takes a little bit more for me, but I still feel great. A little warm up, I'm good to go.
So, obviously with you saying you're 100%, what are your expectations for this season for you personally?
For me personally, oh man, I'm gonna wrestle hard and I'm gonna beat a lot of people. They ain't gonna know what's coming,
Thank you.
bro.
Anybody else got a question for Kaid?
I got a quick one. Kate, Adam asked you what your personal goals are for the year, but what are the team goals for the year?
Team goals for the year, not like every year, man. We're trying to win. I mean, that's the end goal every year. And since I've been here, and since for a while now, we've always fallen just a shy bit short. And I feel like this year with our team, we can do it this year. We got a solid team, so I feel like we got a good chance this year to showcase everything our team has to offer and take home first. I think that's a possibility, a very good possibility, if everybody does their job.
Coach mentioned that Dayton's going to be out till February unless something changes. Do you feel like you're going to be a guy that maybe jumps between that 133, 141 as the season kind of goes along?
2 years ago, maybe. Not anymore. That injury last year, I spent that whole time, because the last time I wrestled 41, I was a little small, and I spent that whole time lifting, getting bigger, and now I'm a long ways from 33.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions for Kaid? All right, I think you're good to go, Kaid.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna go practice. Thanks, kid.
All right, guys, thank y'all for joining the call. I recorded this, so I will send this out on the listserv. If there's anything else y'all need, just let me know.
Thanks.
Thank you.